For your relationships to be successful with friends, colleagues, relatives, and family members, you need to know how to maintain and nurture them. Look on a relationship as a bank account in which you make deposits and can do withdrawals. But if the withdrawals become in excess, the account goes into overdraw. So it is with relationships as well. I was once at the Delhi airport. The gentleman in front of me started berating the check-in clerk. Now, the clerk was responding politely, but this gentleman's temper kept on increasing. And the more he shouted, the more gently the clerk responded. Finally, when this person left, I asked the check-in clerk, I am extremely impressed. For no fault of yours, he was chiding you. How did you maintain your calm? The clerk said, it's a small matter. His ticket is cut to Chennai where he'll be flying. I'm going to ensure his luggage flies to Andaman and Nicobar. The mistake the person had made was, in a relationship where he had never deposited, he was making withdrawals, and that had led to a rupture. So what are deposits and withdrawals in relationships? When we express affection by smiling, praising, supporting, adjusting, and understanding others, consider that as a deposit in the relationship. And when we behave negatively by criticizing, finding fault, ignoring, forcing people against their will, this is a withdrawal. Sometimes withdrawals are necessary. Like, for example, between parents and children. Parents do need to find fault, do need to insist the children behave in one way and not in the other. But to ensure that the child responds positively, there must be constant deposits. And that is what people forget to do. One father, when he returned home from office late, the child said, Father, how much do you earn at your work? The father said, Why do you ask? What is it to you? Papa, please, I wish to know. Well, it's about 500 rupees an hour. The child said, Really? Papa, can you please lend me 300 rupees? The father said, Is that why you were asking me? You want to go and blow up that money? Go back to your room right now. The child silently went to his bedroom. The father then began thinking, my son has never behaved like this. Maybe he had a need for the money. He came in and said, Beta, I think I overdid my reaction to you. Here is 300 rupees as you had asked. The child took out 200 rupees crumpled up from under his pillow, took the father's 300 and said, Papa, can I buy 1 hour of your time? That was when the father realized he had not been making time out for his child. No son or daughter needs their parents to be 24 hours with them. All they need is 15 minutes of quality time every day. But when parents fail to make those deposits, then the rebellion starts building up. Likewise, in corporate situations as well, You may need to criticize your subordinate, but make sure it is sandwiched between 4 deposits. Which means give 2 praises, then the critical appraisal, and then again 2 positive affirmations. It will ensure that the subordinate receives it well. In marriage relationships, what happens? When first people get connected, they are extremely mindful of the other and they behave courteously, they are gentle and polite. But as the time goes by, they start taking the other for granted. And then the relationship gets strained and even goes towards divorce. John Gottman, a researcher from the University of Washington, did a research with married couples and came to this golden ratio of 5:1. He said that for any married relationship to survive with positivity, there must be at least 5 positive interactions for any negative one. So this concept of relational bank balance, let's see what my latest book, Golden Rules for Living Your Best Life, has to say about it. Realize that relationships require efforts. Do you remember the last time you complimented your spouse? How often did you spend one-on-one exclusive time with your children? When was the last time you appreciated your relative or co-worker? Remember the 5:1 ratio before you pull them up for their mistakes. Build the relationship accounts and enhance the deposits. Adorn your dealings with praises, smiles, and genuine concern. That will reduce strain and make your important relationships robust. It will allow for unpleasant withdrawals to be absorbed without any damage. This is the emotional bank account formula for successful relationships. So how do we keep making deposits? A great way to increase your deposits in relationships is to try and understand the perspectives of others. One teacher teaching maths asked a student, "How much is 2 plus 2? The student looked blank at the teacher. The teacher then showed him 2 mangoes and said, "Okay, listen, my child, if I give you 2 mangoes and then again 2 more mangoes, how many mangoes will you have?" The child said, "Madam, I will have 5 mangoes." The teacher was confounded. "Look, 2 mangoes, 1 plus 1. Another 2 mangoes, 1 plus 1. Now tell me, how many will you have?" The child said, "Madam, I will have 5. The teacher became a little frustrated. She said, "Okay, let's try again. I am giving you 2 oranges, 1 plus 1. Another 2 oranges here. How many oranges will you have?" The child said, "Madam, 4. The teacher said, "Okay, you have got it now. Let's try again. I am giving you 2 mangoes and 2 mangoes. Tell me, how many do you possess?" The child said, "Madam, I possess 5. The teacher was ready to pull her hair apart. "My child, how come 5? The child said, "Madam, My mother, when she sent me to school, she gave me a mango which is in my bag. So your 4 and 1 here will make 5. Now the child had his own perspective. The teacher was unaware of that and was thinking the child is calculating wrongly. So often we make this mistake in our interactions with others. That is why the saying in marketing, if you wish to sell to John Smith what John Smith buys, you must then learn to look at the world through John Smith's eyes. And when we understand their perspective, then try and adjust a little bit. I once counseled a husband and wife who were preparing for divorce. They came to me for advice. I said, how did the fight begin? When we got to the bottom of it, it got revealed that the matter was over a cat. When the husband was away from his desktop, the cat would come and eat some wires. And he would express his frustration on his wife that why was she not watching out for the cat. The wife had her perspective, saying that she was busy in other things and she could not spend her time on watching out for him. And that matter had escalated to the point of divorce. I said to them, you both are fighting over such a silly thing. You are more attached to your opinions than to the other. Instead, why not think of the value that the other is adding to you? But as the saying goes, that we are lawyers when it comes to evaluating our own defects. We justify them. And for the defects of others, we are the best judges. However, as Andrew Carnegie, the American business magnate, said, dealing with people is like digging for gold. You will come across a lot of mud, but you continue looking for gold, not the mud. Likewise, people will have their defects. Ignore them and focus on the good within them.